Can Henry Cavill truly save the Warhammer 40k live-action series? The stakes couldn't be higher, clashing with Amazon over lore changes, risking his own fortune, and fighting to keep the grimdark universe authentic. But with a looming deadline and Amazon's divisive demands threatening everything, will Cavill's passion be enough, or is Warhammer destined to fall victim to Hollywood's worst tendencies? Let's dive into the high-stakes battle for this epic franchise. The Warhammer 40k live-action series has been the subject of intense speculation, with many fans questioning whether it would ever come to fruition. Now, it seems the project has a real chance of success thanks to none other than Henry Cavill. Stepping into both the lead role and the producer's chair, Cavill has taken full control of the series, becoming the driving force behind its vision and execution. This wasn't a simple decision for Cavill, it was a calculated risk. He has gone to extraordinary lengths, even putting his own finances on the line to ensure the series stays true to Warhammer's original lore. Fans had long feared that the involvement of a giant like Amazon would lead to unnecessary changes, potentially altering the essence of the beloved franchise. Cavill, however, has been steadfast in his commitment to preserving the authenticity that Warhammer fans hold dear. The journey to this point has been anything but smooth. For months, rumors swirled about behind-the-scenes conflicts and the potential cancellation of the series. Some feared the project had quietly been shelved. Yet new reports indicate that these fears were unfounded. Despite significant challenges, including creative disagreements between Cavill and Amazon, the project is alive and progressing, with Cavill fighting tooth and nail to safeguard its integrity. His dedication to this endeavor is nothing short of remarkable. As a passionate Warhammer fan himself, Cavill has taken on the immense responsibility of protecting the franchise's future, ensuring it remains in the hands of those who respect its rich history. With Cavill at the helm, fans can breathe a little easier, hopeful that the live-action adaptation will finally bring their cherished universe to life in a way that stays true to its roots. The Warhammer 40k live-action series has faced turbulent times, with creative disagreements threatening its very existence, yet Henry Cavill has stood firm, refusing to back down. His passion and commitment have been instrumental in keeping the project alive and ensuring that the essence of Warhammer remains untarnished. Cavill's involvement goes beyond that of a typical actor. As a longtime Warhammer fan, he deeply understands the intricate lore and has championed its faithful adaptation. Unlike many in Hollywood who take roles without a real connection to the source material, Cavill sees this project as a labor of love, not just another job. His genuine enthusiasm for the franchise makes him the perfect guardian of its legacy. But Cavill's dedication hasn't made things easier. The journey has been fraught with challenges, including intense creative conflicts involving him, Amazon, and Games Workshop. These disputes nearly caused the entire project to collapse, especially with a critical deadline looming at the year's end. Resolving these issues became a race against time, as failure would not only derail the series but also jeopardize plans for an expansive cinematic universe. This situation is particularly nerve-wracking for fans because Amazon's track record with adaptations is far from stellar. Their handling of past projects, most notably The Rings of Power, has left audiences skeptical. Many Tolkien fans were already critical of Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy for its departures from the source material, but Amazon's The Rings of Power took these concerns to a new level. Key characters were drastically altered, pivotal lore was overlooked, and the show's tone strayed far from J.R.R. Tolkien's vision. Instead of addressing fan feedback, Amazon responded dismissively, placing blame on the audience for not being supportive enough. This approach only deepened the mistrust, casting a long shadow over any new adaptations the studio undertakes. For Warhammer 40k fans, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Amazon learn from its past mistakes, or will this beloved universe face the same fate? Cavill's efforts to navigate these challenges reflect his resolve to protect Warhammer from the pitfalls of past adaptations. He's determined to ensure the project stays true to its roots, but with Amazon's history, fans are holding their breath. Let me know when you're ready to delve into Cavill's next steps or discuss Amazon's role further. For Warhammer fans, the concerns over Amazon's involvement are more than justified. After the mishandling of the Rings of Power, the fear of a similar fate for Warhammer 40k looms large. One significant point of tension in the negotiations between Henry Cavill and Amazon has been the application of Amazon's DEI guidelines. These guidelines mandate that 50% of the cast and half of the dialogue must represent women, along with specific quotas for LGBTQ characters and those with disabilities. While these policies aim to foster inclusivity, many fans worry that rigid adherence to these quotas could overshadow the story's essence and undermine the intricate, grimdark world of Warhammer 40k. The Warhammer universe is not a typical backdrop. It's a harsh, unforgiving setting filled with brutal warfare, towering space marines, fanatical religious factions, and unending strife. Applying DEI quotas to this world without disrupting its fundamental lore is a monumental challenge, one that Henry Cavill has been determined to address without compromising authenticity. Cavill, as both a fan and a negotiator, proposed a solution that could balance representation with lore fidelity. He suggested focusing on existing all-female factions such as the Sisters of Battle and the Sisters of Cylon. These groups already have a firm place in Warhammer's universe and could satisfy Amazon's diversity goals without requiring lore-breaking changes. However, Amazon was not entirely convinced. They found the Sisters of Battle too tied to their religious zealotry and rejected the Sisters of Silence, citing their vow of silence as incompatible with dialogue quotas. In response, Amazon proposed introducing female custodians, an idea that would rewrite one of Warhammer's most iconic all-male factions. This was a step too far for Cavill. He refused to compromise the integrity of the established lore, standing firm in his commitment to keeping Warhammer faithful to its roots. His refusal marked a critical moment in the project's development. Months of negotiations ensued, with neither side initially willing to budge. Cavill's unwavering dedication to the source material created a stalemate that left fans increasingly anxious about the series' future. Would Amazon abandon the project rather than adapt its policies, or would Cavill walk away, as he famously did with The Witcher when it veered too far from its origins? Finally, recent reports have brought a glimmer of hope. Amazon has relented, agreeing to give Cavill the creative freedom he needs to honor Warhammer's lore. This victory is a testament to Cavill's determination to uphold the universe's authenticity, even in the face of corporate pressures. Given Cavill's track record, this resolution isn't surprising. His decision to leave The Witcher set a precedent. He won't stay with a project unless it aligns with the source material and his creative vision. For Warhammer fans, this is a reassuring sign that the live-action series is in capable hands. With Cavill at the helm, the franchise has a chance to stay true to its roots while delivering a series that fans can truly celebrate. Amazon's decision to stick with a live-action adaptation of Warhammer 40k instead of opting for an animated approach is undoubtedly bold and risky. While their support of Henry Cavill's vision reflects a willingness to bet big, the financial and technical challenges of bringing the grimdark universe to life are monumental. Unlike more contained settings seen in other popular series, Warhammer 40k presents an unparalleled level of complexity and grandeur. This isn't a straightforward fantasy drama or a simple sci-fi adventure. It's a sprawling, dystopian universe filled with towering space marines, horrifying alien xenos, and immense gothic structures that rival entire planets in scale. The grim atmosphere, intricate lore, and sheer enormity of this world demand a level of craftsmanship that pushes the limits of live-action capabilities. Consider the Space Marines, for instance. These genetically enhanced super soldiers and their massive power armor are iconic, yet translating their imposing presence into live action without falling into the trap of awkward CGI or bulky practical suits is no easy feat. Their size, movement, and weight must feel authentic to capture the awe they inspire in fans. Add to that the challenge of rendering the warp a chaotic dimension of psychic energy and the endless galactic battles that define the universe, and it's clear why this project is far from a standard production. Amazon's live-action Star Wars series offer a cautionary tale here. While shows like The Mandalorian and Andor have delivered compelling stories, their visual execution has sometimes fallen short of truly immersive sci-fi. Even with the backing of Disney's vast resources, budget constraints occasionally left key moments feeling smaller than they should have been. The infamous over-reliance on soundstage technology and green screens often broke the illusion of a vast, living galaxy. If Star Wars, with its decades of experience and fan support, struggled to meet expectations, how can Amazon ensure Warhammer 40k avoids the same pitfalls? The stakes are infinitely higher. Fans demand a seamless blend of CGI and practical effects that make the universe feel both grounded and otherworldly, a nearly Herculean task. This is why an animated adaptation could have been a smarter and more realistic choice. Animation offers a unique advantage: the ability to fully embrace the surreal and grandiose nature of Warhammer 40k without the constraints of live-action production. Take Amazon's Invincible, for example. By going animated, the creators were able to deliver jaw-dropping action sequences, deep character moments, and a faithful translation of the source material, all without worrying about budget-breaking effects or physical limitations. Animation allows for limitless creativity, something a live-action Warhammer will be constantly grappling with. The sheer brutality, scale, and visual intricacy of the franchise lend themselves naturally to a medium where anything imaginable can be depicted. Of course, live action has its own unique appeal, offering a level of tangibility and connection that animation can't always replicate. Seeing Space Marines, the Emperor, and the horrors of the warp in the flesh has the potential to captivate audiences in a way no animated series could. However, the burden is on Amazon to commit the resources, talent, and time necessary to make this vision a reality. At its heart, Warhammer 40k is a universe of extremes: extreme scale, extreme darkness, and extreme complexity. Whether Amazon's decision to pursue live action pays off or crumbles under its own ambition will ultimately depend on whether they can match Cavill's dedication to the lore with an equally unparalleled investment in the production. For fans, the hope is that this gamble results in a series that not only does justice to Warhammer's grimdark universe, but also sets a new benchmark for epic storytelling on screen. The challenge of making Warhammer 40k Space Marines relatable is one of the most critical hurdles this project must overcome. These superhuman warriors, bred for battle and stripped of much of their humanity, are far from the traditional protagonists audiences are used to. Unlike the morally complex anti-heroes of modern storytelling or the vulnerable yet determined heroes of classic narratives, Space Marines are stoic, duty-bound, and often emotionally detached. This can make it difficult for viewers to find a personal connection to these towering figures of war. To tackle this, the creative team will need to focus on characters who can act as bridges between the audience and the grimdark universe of Warhammer. Human perspectives, such as those of Imperial Guardsmen, Inquisitors, or even civilians caught in the chaos of galactic war, could provide that much-needed emotional anchor. These characters, with their flaws, fears, and triumphs, can ground the story, offering a lens through which the audience can experience the overwhelming scale and brutality of the Warhammer universe. Another effective approach would be to explore the rare moments of introspection within the Space Marines themselves. While they are engineered for war, they are not devoid of internal conflict. The moral dilemmas they face, their loyalty to the Emperor, and the burdens of their roles in an unending war could offer glimpses into their psyche. These moments, though rare, could humanize them just enough to make them compelling without undermining their larger-than-life status. At the same time, the series must carefully balance relatability with the core essence of Warhammer, the grimdark tone, the unyielding pessimism, the perpetual conflict, and the universe's moral ambiguity is what defines this franchise. Softening these elements too much to appeal to a wider audience risks alienating the very fans who have kept the franchise alive for decades. It's a tightrope walk. The series needs to be accessible without compromising the harsh, unforgiving nature of its source material. If done right, this could mirror the success of shows like The Boys, which took larger-than-life characters and layered them with personal struggles, social commentary, and morally gray decisions. By blending the grand scale of Warhammer with intimate, character-driven storytelling, the series can create a unique experience that draws in both longtime fans and newcomers. Of course, another significant aspect of making Space Marines relatable lies in the world building. The universe of Warhammer 40k is as much a character as the people inhabiting it, showcasing the horrors of the warp, the political intrigue of the Imperium, and the complex relationships between different factions will be key to immersing viewers. The more vivid and authentic the world feels, the more the audience will care about its inhabitants, even the towering Space Marines. Ultimately, success will depend on the creative team's ability to find the balance between spectacle and substance. They must craft a narrative that honors the depth and complexity of the Warhammer 40k universe while making it emotionally resonant for a modern audience. Whether through human characters, introspective Marines, or an emphasis on world building, the goal is clear: to bring the grimdark vision of Warhammer to life without losing its soul. As we await more updates, one thing is certain: this is a make-or-break moment for Warhammer 40k. With Henry Cavill's passion and commitment leading the charge, fans can only hope that this adaptation will finally bring their beloved universe to the screen in a way that stays true to its roots while capturing the imagination of a global audience. For now, the waiting game continues, but the stakes and the potential have never been higher. The uncertainty surrounding the Warhammer 40k live-action series has fans on edge, and it's easy to see why. A project of this scale requires not just the commitment of major players like Amazon and Games Workshop, but also clear communication to reassure the fanbase that the adaptation is moving forward. The silence around the project has naturally fueled speculation, with some claiming the show is quietly being shelved. While this kind of pessimism isn't without merit after all, plenty of ambitious adaptations have fizzled out before even reaching production. There's still room for cautious optimism. For one, Henry Cavill's involvement alone is a significant reason to believe in the project's potential. Cavill isn't just an actor attached to the series, he's a passionate advocate for the Warhammer universe. His dedication to staying true to the source material has been a major selling point for fans. It's hard to imagine someone with Cavill's enthusiasm letting this project quietly fade away without a fight. His deep understanding of the lore and his position as an executive producer suggests he has more influence than your average leading man. Moreover, the current landscape of streaming platforms presents opportunities for a pivot if Amazon decides not to follow through. Platforms like Netflix or HBO have shown interest in high-concept fantasy and sci-fi adaptations, and Warhammer 40k would fit neatly into the portfolio of any network looking to capitalize on the growing appetite for expansive genre storytelling. After the success of series like The Witcher and Arcane, it's clear that a well-executed Warhammer adaptation could find a dedicated audience. The concerns raised by YouTuber Arch do reflect an underlying frustration among fans. The lack of concrete updates from Amazon or Games Workshop can feel like a bad omen, especially when contrasted with the rapid development cycles of other high-profile projects. However, major productions often require extensive pre-production periods, particularly when dealing with something as complex and visually demanding as Warhammer. Building a universe this intricate isn't a small feat. It requires careful planning, from costume and set designs to special effects and narrative structure. Silence might not mean cancellation, it could just mean the project is still in the early stages. Even so, fans would benefit from more transparency. A simple confirmation that the project is still in development or a sneak peek at concept art could go a long way in keeping the fanbase engaged and optimistic. Games Workshop has an opportunity to leverage its loyal community by keeping them in the loop, even if progress is slow. The stakes for this adaptation are incredibly high. If done right, it could be a game changer for the franchise, opening the Warhammer universe to a whole new audience. On the flip side, a poorly executed series risks not only alienating longtime fans but also damaging the reputation of a beloved AP. That's why taking the time to get it right, even if it means enduring radio silence for now, might be the best course of action. Ultimately, the key lies in whether Henry Cavill and his team can rally the resources and creative vision needed to bring Warhammer 40k to life in a way that satisfies both diehard fans and curious newcomers. The buzz around the project may have cooled for the moment, but with a property this iconic and a fanbase this devoted, it's unlikely the dream of a live-action Warhammer series will vanish entirely. For now, all eyes are on Games Workshop, Amazon, and of course Cavill to deliver the update everyone's waiting for. Until then, fans will keep the hope alive and maybe start imagining what a Tyranid swarm would look like on the small screen. While uncertainty still looms over the Warhammer 40k live-action series, there are clear reasons to remain optimistic. Conflicting reports have stirred the pot, but it's essential to focus on the bigger picture. As YouTuber Mr. H Reviews pointed out, behind-the-scenes progress might be slower than fans hoped, but it's far from a dead project. In fact, his confident dismissal of Arch's grim prediction highlights the possibility that negotiations and creative planning are quietly advancing. One of the most encouraging signs is Henry Cavill's ongoing partnership with Amazon. If creative clashes or internal tensions were as dire as some suggest, it seems unlikely Cavill would sign on for another major project with the company, such as the upcoming Voltron live-action series. This growing collaboration reinforces the idea that the Warhammer adaptation is still alive, even if its development is shrouded in secrecy for now. Yes, there are hurdles. From settling on creative guidelines to ensuring the massive budget delivers the jaw-dropping visuals fans expect, this project faces significant challenges. However, those same challenges are precisely why a steady hand like Cavill's is invaluable. His passion for the Warhammer universe and his meticulous attention to lore offer a rare advantage in navigating such a complex adaptation. So where do we go from here? Patience will be key. The lack of frequent updates may feel frustrating, but it's worth remembering that groundbreaking projects often require time to align all the pieces. Silence doesn't necessarily mean stagnation, it could signify careful preparation for what's to come. In the grimdark world of Warhammer 40k, hope may seem fleeting, but it's far from extinguished. Whether it's through Amazon or another platform, Cavill's commitment and the enduring appeal of the Warhammer universe make it clear that this story is far from over. For now, fans must hold the line and stay vigilant. And who knows, when the silence finally breaks, it might just usher in the era of an epic Warhammer 40k series we've all been waiting for. Stay tuned because as any true fan knows, in the far future, there's always another battle on the horizon.